Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northfield. My name is Wyman Weinbeck, and my wife Susie and I have been very grateful members of this congregation since 2018. UUFN is an inclusive community that nurtures spiritual and intellectual growth and fosters ethical and social responsibility. If you are a visitor either online or on site, we are glad you are with us, and we invite you to stay with us after the service to chat and get acquainted. We welcome your questions and we look forward to getting to know you. I call your attention to the announcements of your order of service and weekly email. First announcement is on Sunday, August 13th, we will have a welcoming congregation conversation after the service at UUFN. In response to an online conversation about LGBTQ plus identities, terminology, and welcoming, let's gather in person to talk about these concepts. Reverend Sarah will do an overview of terminology and concepts, and we'll have plenty of time for questions and reflections. And join us next Sunday for Great Things Great and Small Things Small, presented by our very own Beth Goodell. Putting things in perspective is a form of mindfulness that can help us hold on to equilibrium in our daily lives. And again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northfield.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My name is John Owens, and I am a member of this congregation. Our opening words are Invitation by Shel Silverstein. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer. If you're a pretender, come sit by our fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in, come let us worship together. So, the flaming chalice is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Each Sunday when we gather, we bring this symbol of life together. Please join me in speaking the words for lighting the chalice. Let us open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us open our minds to learn what is true. And let us open our hearts to love one another. Please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 298 in the blue hymnal, Wake Now My Senses.
I invite you to allow yourself an unhurried breath. Relax your shoulders. Inhale and exhale. And let your heart catch up with you in this moment. In the presence of a love that holds us all, we use our chalice flame to light our candles of community. We light our first candle as a blessing for the wider world. We know too that the details of our daily lives are sacred and important. We now light a candle for all the simple joys that are sustaining us. Honor the joys and sorrows we carry in our hearts, but that have not been spoken aloud. And we move into a time of silence. May the truth of your heart be reflected in these flames. Amen, and blessed be. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the land, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Our reading today is Pausing for Wisdom by Sherry Woodbury. We made it to our final dinner with relatives from out of town before one of my in-laws went off on a provocative political tangent. My heart began to race. I glanced around the table. It was clear from the lack of eye contact that no one else was going to engage. I was tempted to just put another forkful of spaghetti in my mouth and wait for someone to change the subject. But I don't believe that checking out is the solution, nor did I want to go on attack mode. Whether a conflict occurs in my family, my church, or my country, I believe I will be most effective if I can choose a different path than the aggrieved one trod by my relative. I noticed the agitation welling up in me. My thinking was suddenly clouded. My jaw clenched. My foot tapped out some energy. I took a deep breath and resolved not to lash out or make harsh assumptions about this relative, but not to remain silent either. My child was at the dinner table listening. How could I model another way? Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron invites us to start by not biting the hook. Can you picture the fish in the stream, startled by that dangerous gleaming hook that has just appeared, ready to attack this silver stranger? But the angry fish who bites the hook will only hurt itself. Chodron describes 4 R's for transforming this urge to bite the hook. Recognizing what is going on in us, refraining from embracing those feelings, relaxing with the underlying urge to react, and resolving to interrupt the momentum like this for the rest of our lives. For myself, I add a fifth R, rechanneling that energy to other, better uses. That's the reward I get for putting space around my instinctive response. I get to choose how to use the energy that would have been expended thrashing on that hook so that it might instead be spent well. I did my best to open a dialogue, sharing my perspective with my kin. While my ranting relative carried on with the diatribe, the other detractor at the table entered an earnest conversation with me that included mutual listening. Because I had paused before speaking up, my words carried a bit more wisdom and a bit less reactivity. We will now take our offering. Our offering is one way we make our care for the world tangible. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Makoke Ikekupi, which means land recovery. Dakota people were systematically dispossessed of their homeland and currently reside on about 1/100% of their original land base within the borders of what is now the state of Minnesota. In their words, the Makoche Ikekupi project seems to bring some of our relatives home, reestablish our spiritual and physical relationship with our homeland, and ensure the ongoing existence of our people. Our cultural survival depends on it. Let us give generously as we are able to support the Dakota people through the Makoke Ikekupi project. You may donate by cash, check made out to UUFN with offering basket in the memo line, or online from our website, uunorthfield.org. You can scroll down to the bottom of the homepage for the link. And we now gratefully accept the offering.
The spiritual gift of annoying people. There I was, working in my home office one evening with an important deadline looming tomorrow morning for posting my new blog. Yes, as usual, I had procrastinated until the 11th hour, but with good focus and a few hours, I was confident I could pull it off. Just as I was into my third paragraph, a family member received a call from a loved one and put it on speakerphone just downstairs from me. The conversation was loud and I could hear every word from both sides of the excited dialogue. My ability to concentrate on my task was blown out of the water. The more I tried to focus, the more annoyed I became at my inability to do so. After what felt like half an hour of this, which was probably 10 minutes at most, I was sorely tempted to open my office door like some jack in the box and shout, "Would you please take your conversation elsewhere now?" The urge was there, surely. Fortunately for all of us, I held myself back. And soon enough, the call ended and silence returned. A nasty conflict was narrowly avoided. What happened to me in that moment between my urge to yell and control others in my environment and my standing down? I was angry that my unspoken needs were not being respected. I was also feeling fearful that I would not meet my deadline due to this interruption. I was giving top priority to my needs of the moment, full of self-importance, and I was also frustrated that I was unable to tune out what was beyond my door and focus on my task to complete it in time. I also had a small packet of judgments. One judgment shouted inside me that I was being disrespected. Another was that my family member was being rude, inconsiderate, and very annoying. Another self-judgment whispered to me that I'm unable to do creative work with distractions around me, so my intervention was justified. These were the things that got me to the edge of my chair, ready to explode out of the room and rattle my saber at a loved one. Some small voice inside me, however, pulled hard on my reins of annoyance and slowed my peak to a halt. I took a few breaths and checked in on myself. It seems that many times when I'm on the brink of going over an edge, that some guardian angel whispers to me just loud enough to wake me up to think, huh? What's that? Do I want to do this or not? I realized that I was being a jerk. The disrespect that I was feeling toward me was, in reality, a projection of my own tendency of disrespectful behaviors toward others, using the one to justify the other. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. You annoy me, and I'll make you pay for it. Apparently, I must have learned that somewhere, yet I also believe through my lived experience, as well as through many personal development trainings, that when we humans have an emotional charge about someone or something, it's a projection of our internal self, our shadow. These are parts of us, both negative and positive, that we hide, repress, and deny. We project such qualities onto others because we can't stand them in ourselves, and because of our uncomfortable self-beliefs about those qualities. They trigger our feelings of hatred, anger, annoyance, or grief, as well as admiration or attraction. My sense of being violated by loud, excited talk was justification for my doing similar behavior in spades. To react in that way would only escalate the situation and most likely put me into such a negative realm that I would be unable to finish my work. That would give me an excuse for failure, and I could blame it on someone else, right? No, not at all. This is mine to own and to live with. Family warfare, which I was on the verge of initiating by acting on my urge to control, is not my value. It is not the reason that I became a vegetarian, not the reason that I continued to stand in peace vigils in the 1960s after I got egged in the head. It is not the reason that I will not allow my nest egg to invest in the defense industry, and it is not the reason I took a vow of marriage and had children. I believe in peace and love and justice. The jerk in me does not, it seems. But if we continue to put out each other's eyes and teeth in endless retaliation, soon the world becomes blind and toothless. That's not the world that I long to co-create. This is not my version of beloved community. The other day, riding my bike along the shoulder of County 1, the road nearly devoid of traffic, a pickup passed me, close enough to violate the 3-foot clearance law that gives cyclists a measure of safety. I found myself condemning the driver as one of those MAGAs who have it in for everyone but their own hateful tribe. I just made that up. That the brushback was all about me, and not some inattentive driver focused on getting to his destination. I had to laugh at myself for jumping to such conclusions, and it left me wondering if I ever behave in a similar way, or if such exclusionary and othering behavior is so deeply repressed in me that I have no conscious access to my tribal tendencies. I forgave the driver in my mind and in my heart and rode on, feeling better and with my heart at peace. There is plenty of advice out there on the internet dealing with annoying people. Blogger Mandy Coleman identifies no less than 20 brands of annoying people. For instance, intentional button pushers, oversharers, ones who ghost you repeatedly, the holier than thous, who one-up you on everything, jokesters who take nothing, including you, seriously, inconsiderate jerks, virtue signalers who are offended by everything, know-it-alls, drama queens, diet junkies, and sentence finishers that won't let you complete your thought. Anyone here guilty of one of those? No, keep your hands down. We're not here to judge or accuse. But if you think you aren't annoying to anyone ever, ask your partner, coworker, or your kids. We are all guilty of being annoyed on occasion. This is part of the territory of being human. There's plenty of advice, too, on methods of dealing with annoying people. Some recommend avoidance or having someone else run interference for you. Others promote polite requests or trying not to take such situations so seriously. These are methods for managing the situation and not really taking on the root cause of our own distress, which is not that annoying person, but our own woundedness and isolation. Whose annoyance is it anyway? That person is just being themselves, unaware of how they occur to others, like we all are so much of the time. We have to own our annoyance as belonging to us exclusively, even if it's shared with 98% of the rest of the world. And if our annoyance belongs to us personally, isn't that an opportunity for personal and spiritual growth? Our brains are wired for survival, the psychologists tell us. The amygdala, or lizard brain, will trigger at any perceived threat and take over, causing the well-known fight, flight, freeze response. Our limbic or mammalian brain is wired to monitor belongingness and social safety. Either of these can and will hijack our executive function, our ability to think, use language, plan, and respond to circumstances. Yet there is a small, sometimes infinitesimal gap between a stimulus and our response. There lies our ability, I believe, to exercise free will In that small gap lies our ability to have choice in how our body responds, a choice that can be guided by our beliefs, hopes, and values, or not. A response that can come from love rather than fear for our survival or well-being. And as we practice noticing this gap, it becomes wider, and our primal energies become less in control. Mindfulness and meditation are said to be a big aid to noticing and widening this gap and allowing us greater choice. Choice to put values like love, respect, conscience, and acceptance front and center in how we respond even to annoyance. In the book Anatomy of Peace, written by the Arbinger Institute, a group dedicated to bringing humanity to the workplace, they describe two ways that humans can be. With our hearts at peace, seeing others for who they are and what they are in this moment, with love and without judgment. Or we can see others with our hearts at war, viewing others as objects, vehicles, threats, or obstacles to what we want. Seeing an equal person as an object of annoyance, according to Arbinger, is an act of violence. It hurts that person as much as a punch to the face. When treated as an object, people naturally feel resentment, which causes them to contemplate or react in ways that would hurt us, just to get our own point across to us. We can make clear-minded decisions only when our heart is at peace. When our heart is at war, we are unable to find a third way through to success. Generally, again, according to Arbinger, we respond to others' way of being rather than to their behavior. Our loved ones respond to how we regard them than to our particular words or actions. When our heart is at war, any changes in our outward behavior won't affect feelings and serve to reinforce our judgments. When we see others as objects, we actually begin provoking them to make our lives difficult. We invite them to make us miserable. We provoke in others the very things we say we hate. To deny the humanity of another, even if they are annoying, threatening, disagreeable, or completely wrong, is an act of violence on ourselves. We say we believe in and desire to practice consistently valuing the worth and dignity of all beings. And we also believe in and practice regarding the interconnectedness of everything. Yet we unconsciously abandon temporarily our faith and do violence to our own humanity to let our hearts go to war with not just another that we are annoyed with, but our own essence and belief in ourselves. Ouch, ouch, ouch. So consider that person who seemingly gets in our way or bores us, annoys us, shames us, makes us feel inferior, or otherwise ruins our day to be a portal to your greater self-awareness and self-control. Consider your annoyance to be a spiritual calling to slow down, breathe in the pure air that we all share, and respond from your heart instead of reacting from your gut or your head. Why? Because without this practice, annoyance will never be replaced with compassion. Our intolerance can never accommodate acceptance. Our greed will prevent us from sharing what we can, and false fears will wall off our loving hearts. We have a choice, free will. It is up to you to use it to co-create the world you long for. Namaste. please, yes. Please rise now in body or spirit and turn to number 577 in your blue hymnal, or follow the words on the screen for a responsive reading. It is possible to live in peace. It's not nonviolence is if someone with courage and vision can rise to lead in nonviolent action, the winter of despair can, in the twinkling of an eye, be turned into the summer of hope.
It is possible to live in peace.
Nonviolence is not a garment to put on and off at will. Its seat is in the heart and must be an inseparable part of our being.
It is possible to live in peace.
Nonviolence, which is a quality of the heart, cannot come by an appeal to the brain. It is a plant of slow growth, growing imperceptibly but surely.
It is possible to live in peace.
If a single person achieves the highest kind of love, it will be sufficient to neutralize the hate of millions.
It is possible to live in peace.
If we are to reach real peace in this world, and if we are to carry on a real war against war, we shall have to begin with the children.
It is possible to live in peace.
The future depends on what we do in the present.
It is possible to live in peace.
This is Mohandas K. Gandhi. Please remain standing for our closing hymn, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
You may be seated. Our closing words are "Blessed is the Path" by Eric Williams. Blessed is the path on which you travel. Blessed is the body that carries you upon it. Blessed is your heart that has heard the call. And blessed is your mind that discerns the way. Blessed is the gift that you will receive by going, and truly blessed is the gift that you will become on the journey. May you go forth in peace. We join together in the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now please rise in body or spirit, and with your hands over your heart, or holding a hand of those next to you, or whatever posture is most comfortable for you, we sing words of blessing one to another.
So, thank you all who have helped with this service.